Bonjour, bonsoir, and welcome to another video. Alright, it's a sunny, warm Tuesday morning. It's really nice outside. I'm in the backyard of my home, enjoying nature, enjoying this nice spring weather. I'm getting ready to cut the grass around my home. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to pull out the lawnmower and start cutting the grass around my house. And I'm seeing at the plum trees that I fertilized with the fertilizer spikes. They're growing leaves now. And I hope they produce a lot of plums. And I hope they do. So I think it'd be around about May if they start producing plums. So okay. Okay, this big tall one. Yeah, it got some branches that don't have any leaves growing on it. You got some branches that have some leaves on it, so okay. So if the plums start growing on this tree, like, it's gonna be difficult for me to pick all these plums off of it. I have to like climb way up in this tree. Probably have to get way up in this tree with a ladder. That's gonna be hard, and I'm afraid of heights, but I gotta fight that in order to get the fruit off of this tree. Yeah, this Bruce plum tree. That's right, folks. This big tall tree is a plum tree, a Bruce plum tree. And I knocked down a tree stump that used to be a plum tree. Someone cut it down and it was rotten. I knocked it down. I knocked it down with my right foot and threw it over the fence. Basically, I threw it out in the woods, so that thing was rotten. So I stuck a fertilizer spike there and hope I can get that stump to grow leaves on it to produce another tree, but that didn't happen. Just poison ivy. Okay, here's this one. Yeah, some leaves or plants are growing around that. That's basically part of the tree. So that's from the fertilizer spikes. So yeah, this tree looks crazy looking. A long time ago, it was a gorgeous looking tree. I say back in 2017. But look at it now. It just looks ugly looking now. But I hope this psychotic person who did what they did to this tree don't do any more damage. So I have to come out here and stop that person. So this person is a family member who is completely out of whack and out there and just crazy. And this person say things and do things that make no sense. Okay. Take a look at the tree. Show the tree to all of you. Okay. 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 That's that tree. And I'll show the big tall tree. Yeah, I'm showing both of these Bruce plum trees. I showed you the short one. Now here's the big tall one. This one has tent worms on them, and I'm having a hard time trying to get them off. So I think tent worms are basically, are they caterpillars or fruit fly larvae? I really don't know. So I saw them on other non-fruit trees. And that's right, I live out in the forest. I live in the heavily wooded Piney Woods region of East Texas in the state of Texas. So, okay. All that's poison ivy. Alright. Actually, let me clear my throat. Actually, I didn't come out here, just to show off some trees and talk about what's going on with these 2 trees in the backyard of my home. But then again, I like nature. I like fresh air. I like the sound of the birds chirping. I like the forest. Yeah, I like nature. Wildlife around here, like squirrels, raccoons, possums. I don't like snakes. And there's snakes around here, and they're very venomous and deadly poison. So yeah, I thought that was a snake that I just stepped on, but it was a twig. But yeah, where I live, I gotta be careful and watch out for snakes. Because a while back, I got bitten by a snake, a copperhead. It wasn't venomous. It was a copperhead snake hatchling. It wasn't venomous. He just bit my foot, and my foot just swelled up, and went to the hospital, and the doctors there said that just prop my foot up and just that'll help reduce the swelling. And when did that? It started out as poison control, but it turned out as this: just go home, prop your foot, and the swelling will go down. Yeah, so but then again, I gotta be careful, because these snakes around where I live, they're very venomous. North American pit vipers. So I gotta be very, very careful, because I want to be bitten by one. Okay. Alright, alright. You saw the title of that video, of this video. Excuse me, you saw the title of this video. Okay, and it's titled People nowadays don't have a sense of humor. And I noticed this, in the past, I didn't have no sense of humor. And now I have one now. I'm happy. And I realize that I can't be miserable and bitter and angry all the time. And you know, there's a saying, there's a time and place for everything. There is a time and a place for everything, but that doesn't mean anything today. But that's what I believe in. And it's like you just can't joke around with anybody. You can't have fun with people. You can't tell jokes and joke around with somebody while someone being angry and bitter and serious and no nonsense, and talk about, I gotta protect my children from this person because I don't want my children to be corrupted. I don't want my nephew and my niece to be corrupted. And stay away from my children. Don't touch my children. And yeah, yeah, there's some jokes that I can't say around children, and I'm aware of that. And I'm not gonna say dirty jokes around children, and I'm not gonna do that. That's something I don't do. And I have standards, and I always have standards. And yeah, it's like you can't have fun with anybody, especially here in the United States. I don't know how it is in other countries, but here you can't say something hilarious. You can't crack a smile with somebody. You can't say anything hilarious. You can't make anybody crack a smile because everybody's so serious. Everybody's so sensitive. No nonsense. All business. And you got people who say this, I don't want to talk about politics. And yeah, you know what? On this channel, I've been talking about politics, and I really want to get away from that. Because talking about politics is just basically, it's depressing, and it brings people down, and it brings me down. So there's no point of me talking about politics, because basically, me talking about politics, that's just not me. And I remember someone who I had a conversation on the phone with, someone who watched the videos on this channel, and they asked me a very stupid question. Why do you talk about politics? Because I want to. That's a stupid question right there, and it is. It's stupid. And if I come across someone who talks about politics, I'm not gonna go and ask them that. Why do you talk about politics? That's a stupid question right there, and it is. But anyway, I'm gonna get off of that. It just seems to me you just can't have fun with someone by joking around with them. And it was April Fool's Day. It was the first day of April. No April Fool's jokes or nothing. Because if you joke around with someone, people will get angry and upset, and they'll call you a jackass, a loser. Yeah, and you know something? Just because those people, I'm going to say this, if you don't have a sense of humor, and if you can't take a joke, and you're sensitive, that's your problem, not mine. And I lost my sense of humor. I lost my happiness when I start hanging around or being around people like that. And yeah, I understand nowadays it's all seriousness, it's all business. And here in the US, it's just so goddamn difficult to talk to people. Everybody's running their mouths. I remember at this Dollar Tree store that I went to. Yeah, I went there to buy some hand soap to wash my hands with and some hand sanitizer. And I got what I needed. And when I left, a woman asked me to grab her a shopping cart so she can put her baby in it. So I went and grabbed a shopping cart, and she said, "Oh, thank you very much." And she started running her mouth non-stop. I couldn't say anything to her. I just kept my mouth shut. And that's all you can do around people like that. Someone runs their mouth nonstop, you just shut your mouth. And I ran into someone at Walmart, and I went there to buy some Perrier and some Evian French Alps bottled water. And I stood in line, and there was a woman with her husband, and the woman turned around and saw that I was buying Perrier, a 6-pack, well, 2 6-packs. And she looked at me and said this to me: "I love Perrier, I love the bubbles," and she started running her mouth about it. And when I told her, well, yeah, I like Perrier, and I couldn't get a word in. Like, I couldn't make sense of what I was saying. Like, she just kept talking and talking and talking and talking. Then when I told her I just drank Perrier because I want to avoid sugary sodas and sodas with high fructose corn syrup. When I start saying that, she interrupted me and said, "No, I don't drink that. I don't drink that." Then she smiled and told me and this cashier by wishing us a happy Easter and walked off. And her husband was just standing there. He didn't say anything. And I noticed these men who are married to these women who run their mouths nonstop, they just don't say anything. They're just quiet. And you know, I don't want to be in a relationship or be married to a woman who runs her mouth nonstop, who won't let me speak. It's like this, you know, people like that here in the US, they're just insecure, and they are. That's why they talk nonstop and won't let anybody speak, because they're insecure, and they are. They're just uncomfortable with themselves, I guess. I don't know. Well, I guess, yeah, that is true. Well, yeah. It's just the pits that you can't joke around with anybody. Everybody's so serious. Everybody's so crazy and wild out and out there. And also, you can't joke with people who will ignore you. Like, if you talk to someone, they'll just ignore you. And it's those people who are just low key and don't want to talk to you at all. Maybe they're just suffering from social anxiety or something. They're socially inept. I'm gonna say that. Like, they just don't have the energy to talk, or they just want to keep to themselves. And, you know, I'm not bothered by that. If they don't want to talk to me, I'll just leave them alone. Maybe they just don't want to have anything to do with anybody. They just want to just talk to people that they're in a relationship with, or they're out there with their friends. Yeah, I just can't let that bother me, because I'm going to run across people like that. And it is what it is. I just can't let that ruin my life. It bothered me in the past, but it doesn't bother me anymore. Yeah, it's just like you just can't joke around or have fun with anybody here in the US. And get this, like, if I go abroad and run into some Americans abroad, they're probably going to be the same way as they are here in the United States. So, matter of fact, I don't know how Americans are who are living abroad, who live outside the U.S. I don't know how they are. I probably couldn't joke around with them. So, and I really want to leave and move abroad too. Maybe I can joke around with Americans and people who are native to foreign countries, who live in those foreign countries outside the U.S. Maybe I can joke around and have fun with those people. Maybe I can. Maybe I can't. I don't know. Because, well, with the native people in countries outside the U.S., I gotta be aware of different cultures. I gotta be aware of how people are. Because I might say something funny. It may be funny to me. It probably won't be funny to them. I'm probably gonna get the gray rock treatment or the silent treatment, or you know, or they probably gonna look the other way. I don't know. But you know, and also I like the personal growth journey of being a better person, being a mentor. I like that. And being a mentor, you know what? I can't mentor someone of the next generation and turn around and just shit on people and look down on people and view people as nothing and I'm better than them. I'm not going to do that because I'm no better than anybody. And I'm going to say that to someone if I'm mentoring. I'm going to say this: you're no better than anybody. You're no better than me. You're no better than the next person. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're all human. Yeah, there's some people out there who are worthless and who will just tear you down and make you miserable. But you just can't view everybody as worthless, and you just can't ignore everybody because you don't know who's good and who's bad. You don't know. You just can't just give everybody the silent treatment. That's insane, and it is. And you have some people here on YouTube who are like that. And I'm not going to be like them. And you got people who have YouTube channel, who have a YouTube channel, who are going through personal growth, who are growing up and getting away from the things that they did a long time ago and who they are a long time ago. And you got people on their channels who say things like, "Shut his ass up, so and so." Yeah. That person who runs that YouTube channel and their followers, they're just a bunch of jackasses. And that's what they are. Jackasses. And you know, you got a lot of jackasses here in the US, and you got jackasses in other countries. Yeah, rhinestone jackasses. That's what they are. A bunch of rhinestone jackasses. And I don't want to have anything to do with rhinestone jackasses. And assholes. Pricks. Dicks. Clowns. Yeah. So, yeah. You know, and yeah, you know, it's just it's like you just can't. Even though I have a sense of humor now, which I didn't have a long time ago, it's like you just can't just have fun and just joke around with someone. Yeah, laughing, joking around, having fun, that's good for your mental health. And if you have high blood pressure, hypertension, that's good for you. That keeps your blood pressure in check. Yeah. Makes you feel good about yourself. Yeah, just joke around with some people and just joke around with yourself, you know, make fun of yourself, make fun of others, just out of fun. And at the same time, you can respect people and build people up and strengthen people. You can do that, but in this PC politically correct environment, you just can't do that. You can't do that. You just can't. You just can't do that in this politically correct climate. Everybody's all sensitive. Everybody's all business. It's just depressing. It is. But I'm not depressed right now, and I feel good about myself right now. And I just love nature. I just love, even though I don't go out a lot, even though I don't come out, I need to come out more and enjoy this nice weather, being in nature. Enjoying the trees, the rivers, lakes, mountains, wildlife, sounds of the birds chirping. There's one good thing about the United States, or North America in general. Canada, the US, just those two parts of North America. There's one good thing about the United States and Canada. It's the nature. Even though the people aren't sociable, down to earth, and easy to talk to, not easy to connect, you can't make friends in both countries, even though the people here in the US and Canada, North America in general, even though the people are like that, but the nature is spectacular. The trees and everything. And and I know that climate change is real and it's happening. And I hope Greta Thunberg, the Swedish climate change activist, I hope her generation saves this planet and make it like how it is right now. Because I like trees, I like nature, and I do. I really do. And speaking of, since I'm talking about someone from another country, I can't wait to head back overseas in October to Japan and sail to South Korea or other countries on a cruise ship. I just can't wait to go abroad again. And I'm not too crazy about cruise ships, and I'm not, because I like to get on a plane and fly to a country and be in that country and spend time in that country. Like, spend a vacation / holiday in a country and just soak up the culture and just see how people are in that country. See if I can click well with the people in that country. Because you can't do that on a cruise ship. Because if you're on a cruise ship, you just jump from country to country to country to country. And you get off that cruise ship and onto a country, and you got to be back on that cruise ship before it sets sails and sail to another country. I don't like that. Because I want to stay in that country and enjoy that country. And you can't do that on a cruise ship. I have nothing against cruise ships. Cruise ships are okay. It's just that you won't be able to experience the culture and meet the people if you're on a cruise ship. But yeah, you can meet people from other countries on a cruise ship. That's good. Like I ran into some people from the Caribbean, and people from Britain and Europe on a cruise ship that I went on, that I sailed on in the Mediterranean Sea with my parents and my sister back in 2023. And oh yeah, to all of you who are new to this channel, I got two parts. I got part 1 and part 2 videos of that Mediterranean 2023 cruise that I went on. It's up on this channel. I think it's titled Cruise Ship Cruise 2023. You got part 1 and part 2. You guys can be able to check it out. I don't know if the second part appears on the on my channel in other countries. If you're watching this video from another country, I don't know if the second part is going to appear. I don't know if it does or not. I don't know if it will appear on your part or not. I don't know. But if it does, you guys can check out the second part after you watch the first part. But to all of you who live here in the US or in Canada or in other countries, if you guys see part 1 and part 2, see both parts, then you guys can check out both of them. Yeah, they're very long, but they're worth watching if you guys have the time to sit down and watch them. If you guys have ADHD or not, or you guys are easily bored, whatever. Yeah, if you're not bored, if you don't have ADHD, then check out those videos of the 2023 Mediterranean cruise. All right, let me get right to doing some yard work, pulling out the lawnmower and start cutting the grass around my house. And oh yeah, I remember I used to be allergic to pollen. I'm not allergic to pollen anymore. And it's spring, and the pollen is in full effect. Grass pollen, tree pollen, like it doesn't bother me. My nose isn't stopped up, because I remember when I was allergic to pollen as a kid, I was sneezing. I was sneezing a lot. My nose was stopped up. Yeah, and this was back when I moved to Texas from California with my mom and my dad and my brother and myself. You know, my sister stayed out there until after we all moved here, and she moved here after us. And I was allergic to pollen. But right now, I'm not allergic anymore. I'm not allergic to pollen anymore. But right now, I'm itching right now. Yeah, I think these freaking mosquitoes are out. Yeah, the insects are out. Wasp. I hate those wasps. And yeah, the wasp will sting you. I got stung by wasps in the past. And I hate fire ants. I hate them. Man, you get near a fire ant mound, you step on a fire ant mound or a log with fire ants in it, they will bite you. And I hate fire ants. And I hate wasp. That's one thing I don't like about living here. Those insects. Well, speaking of ants, at least those ants from Africa aren't here. The dory line or the siaflu, yeah, those ants are deadly. Like, yeah, you got these ants these soldier ants that guard that guard these ants that run along this little highway. These little ants create highways, and they carry eggs that are laid by the queen. And if you come in contact with these ants will grab your flush. They will rip your flush to pieces. They will kill you and rip your flush open, and when they get done with you, you'll be nothing but a skeleton. I saw what happened to a chicken somewhere in a country in Africa where the Dory line or the Siafu live. I saw this on Discovery Channel. These ants are deadly. They're worse than fire ants, and I'm glad they're not here. And oh yeah, fire ants aren't native to North America. They came from South America, and they came to North America through cargo ships. So they came here on cargo ships, and when they got to North America, they went and just spread all over the continent. Yeah, fire ants aren't native to North America. They're native to South America. And I wish fire ants stayed in South America and never come to North America. And I remember I was in Europe, and I didn't run into any fire ants there. So I don't know. Maybe there's some fire ants there, but I think I saw on some documentary channel, there's some ants in Europe that will spray some type of liquid in your face. I don't know what those ants are, but I don't want to come in contact with those ants at all. So anyway, let me stop running my mouth and get to work and do some yard work. All right. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, and leave your comments. All right. I'm out. I'm out. Merci beaucoup. I messed around and say bonsoir. When I say bonsoir in French, I'm saying good evening. Bonjour is good morning. So if I go to a French-speaking country like Canada, some French-speaking countries in Africa or in France and Europe, I got to make sure I say bonjour and bonsoir the right way. I'm going to say bonjour during the day. I'm going to say bonsoir during the evening. And I've been learning French as of late, so I got to get cracking on my French lessons. Been cutting corners. So, yeah, don't want to mess around and go to a francophone country and don't speak a lick of French. Just little bits of French, and that's about it, which ain't gonna do me any good. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching and listening. Goodbye. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.